Once our ceilings are created, we're now ready to be able to put a roof over our project one. To create a roof, I'm going to go to the level that the roof is going to bear upon or sit on. That will be my top plate level. So in my project browser, I'm going to go to the top plate level, and I will start to lay out the sketch of a roof. The roof tool is on the architecture tab in the build panel, sits next to ceiling, and I'm going to go in and create a roof by footprint. There are different ways that roofs can be created. The simplest way is to just create it by footprint. There are different types of roofs, just like there are different types of floors or different types of walls. The specifications for our house say to use an 8-inch asphalt shingle roof. So I'm going to choose the wood rafter 8-inch asphalt shingle. Just like we had for floors, we have these draw tools that allow us to define the boundaries of our roof. In the options bar, we come in and we can also define an option of what kind of overhang we want. I'm going to go ahead and leave that at 1 foot. This tool, the Pick Walls tool, is probably the easiest one to create a roof with. It allows you to just select a wall and it will automatically put that overhang on that wall. If I hover over a wall, it will highlight and give me that dashed line telling me where that overhang sketched line will be. I can even hit my tab key right now and it will grab all of the exterior walls, and if I just pick with my left mouse button, I can get my boundary created rather quickly. Once my boundary is created, you'll see that you have some of these edges, some of the boundary lines, have a corresponding triangle associated with them. Every single one that got created had that because I had this option right here called Define Slope. We'll go into a little greater detail what that means here in a minute. But right now, if that triangle appears next to one of the edges, that means that that edge slopes. And if I have a slope on every edge of my home, I'm going to get more of a hip roof style. I can go ahead and accept that and just hit a green check mark right here to finish my roof. When this pops up, I typically like to say no because I like to control where my walls go. You'll see that it says, would you like to attach the highlighted walls to the roof? And it's highlighting the interior walls. Now, I really don't want those interior walls to go all the way up to the underneath side of my roof, so I'm going to say no here. If I get to my 3D view, you'll see that I have a simple roof that's created over the entire project. One thing I like to remind students is that simple roofs are real easy to do, like this one, and complicated roofs are pretty hard to do, and we'll get into that as we go throughout the semester. But let's talk about a couple of different styles or things, alterations that we can make to this roof. Let's say first off, maybe I want to cover my porch area a little bit more there, and then put a gable end on the garage. If I pick my roof, just like selecting a floor and I'm then editing the boundary of it, I can do the same thing with the roof, except we call the boundary a footprint. So if I select the roof and say edit footprint, I can come back in and make some changes to how this roof will look. If I delete that line right there and this one, I can come in and trim these two together, and that will change the boundary at the front of my roof so that I get a more coverage for my porch. The next thing I can do is come in and select that front edge in front of the garage and tell Revit so that doesn't define a slope anymore. So if I select that edge, and I can turn off define slope here in the options bar or in my properties box, it will do it in both ways. And what that means is now is that that border or that edge of the boundary no longer defines a slope of the roof, but it will go straight up at that point. The other thing that I may want to try to do is this was a 9/12 slope. If I pick one of these edges, I'll see that it is a 9/12. That means it's a 12-inch run and a 9-inch rise. And maybe I want to make that a little more of a shallow slope roof. So I can change that roof slope, I'm going to come back in and say they all define a slope just for ease, to let's say a 612 if I want, and then come back in and turn off that front edge saying it defines a slope. Finish the roof. It'll say, do you want to attach the highlighted walls? I'm not really seeing many highlighted walls in my 3D view, but it's those same interior walls. I'll say no here again. And when I do that, I get a totally different look for my home and a little revised roof style, where I have a hip look at the back and then a gabled look at the front. That's created a big hole into my home, into the garage area, and I can clean that up by doing that same attachment tool that we've been using before. I can select these walls inside my garage here, and I can say I want to attach. This time I'm working with the top, so I don't need to change it. Say attach those walls to the roof, and it will extend them up to the underneath side of the roof and clean up that hole. That concludes making a very simple roof for our Project 1.